All right, hello and welcome to part 9 of the Rise of Political Parties, the Louisiana Purchase. Louisiana posed a real extreme problem for Thomas Jefferson when it was offered to him in 1803. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered. First of all, when Napoleon Bonaparte of France effectively is offered Louisiana territory to Thomas Jefferson, the first question he has to ask is, well, can you sell it to me? Because that's really kind of unknown. As far as anybody knew, Louisiana territory belonged to Spain. Remember, after the 7 Years' War, France had given Louisiana territory over to Spain, or at least that portion of it that they had not released to Great Britain, as kind of a, I'm sorry for you having lost Florida to the British, right? Now, they got Florida back in the Treaty of 1783, but Louisiana now is Spanish territory. So what had happened here? Well, on October 1st, 1800, Napoleon Bonaparte, who had rose to power in France, signed a treaty with Spain called the Retrocession of San Ildefonso. The Retrocession of San Ildefonso gave Louisiana back to France under 2 conditions. Really simple conditions. This is all Napoleon had to do. Number 1, you can't tell anybody. It has to remain a secret treaty. You can't tell anybody that we have given you Louisiana territory back. Condition number 2, under no uncertain terms are you to sell it to the United States. As you can see, Napoleon is violating both of these clauses in the treaty when he approaches the United States and says, hey, do you want to buy it? Initially, Napoleon thought, I am going to build a North American empire at the same time as he's building his conquest of Europe, right? But when he abandoned that idea, he no longer needs this land, and he can sell it and use it to raise money to, help fund his war effort in Europe. Okay, so that was question number 1. Can you sell it to me? And the answer is yes, I can. The next question Jefferson needs to ask: can I buy it? Does it say in the Constitution anywhere that the President of the United States can purchase land? Does the Constitution provide for any kind of budget for the executive branch to make a major transaction like this? The answers to both of those questions are no. Now remember, Jefferson believes in a strict interpretation of the Constitution, very narrow, enumerated powers. If it doesn't say you can do it, you can't. In order for him to purchase Louisiana, he has to violate his own beliefs on how the Constitution is to be interpreted, right? So he has that, but at the same time, he sees this as an opportunity to, again, almost double the size of the United States and provide for what he'll later call an empire for liberty, a vast open place for yeoman American farmers. The temptation is just too great. And so he will violate his own beliefs on the Constitution and decide to purchase the land. Okay. Then came the negotiations itself. The French foreign minister will be involved in the negotiations, and guess what? It is that same Marquis de Talleyrand who was involved in the XYZ affair. He has survived Louis XVI's reign, is now the French foreign minister under Napoleon. He's kind of a Teflon Don of France, if you will. Okay. One of the questions that comes up is, well, we know the eastern boundary of Louisiana territory. Where's the western boundary of Louisiana territory? It's really not that well defined, right? So they're going to question Talleyrand on this. His response to the American ministers are this: you must take it as we received it. What the hell does that mean? That didn't mean anything, right? And the ministers continue to press. What is the western boundary? What you just told us doesn't mean anything. Finally, Talleyrand will snap at the ministers and say, you have made a noble bargain for yourself, and I suppose you will make the most of it. To Jefferson, when he's presented with this, he says, well, maybe the western boundary of it is the Pacific Ocean. That's why you'll notice on this map here, you notice that the Louisiana territory here includes all of Texas, right? It's not really well defined where these boundaries are. where the La Salle claim ends and where New Spain begins. When the Spanish government set up the northern territories and created the province of Tejas, right, Texas, that northern area, they didn't set any real concrete boundaries for it at all. In actuality, it was Texish, somewhere up there, right? So maybe we can go to the treaty and get some answers to where that western boundary is. This is what the treaty says. It says, Louisiana, with the same extent that it now has in the hands of Spain and as it had when France possessed it, which are two different things. All right? So even the treaty itself does not really firmly establish where the western boundary of the Louisiana Territory is, and this is why you're going to have Thomas Jefferson send not only the famous Lewis and Clark expedition into this territory, but other expeditions as well in order to firm up control. Because like I've said before, you can stick your sword in the sand and claim territory, but if you can't defend it, you can't keep it.